Welcome back. As we discussed in the last block, Democrats are hoping one of the issues helping them drive voters to the polls this year will be guns. Joining me now to offer his perspective is Republican State Senator Rene Garcia. Rene, thank you very much for coming in. You're looking bright and fresh this morning.
Absolutely.
It's a little early. Thank you for waking up.
It's a little early.
So I want to talk to you. You saw the piece that we just ran. Give me your perspective. I know that guns was a major issue in Tallahassee this year. Do you see it continuing to be an issue as we head into November?
Look, there's no doubt it's going to be an issue, but the issue is not just on one side or the other. The issue is on both sides of the equation. I think Republicans are just as motivated to go out to vote on this issue as Democrats. Now,
in defense of the Second Amendment, believing that it's under threat.
Right, absolutely, and that's where I think both sides are motivated. Because yes, I think it is going to be an issue, but I don't think it's going to be a decisive issue, to be honest with you. And what happened in Tallahassee now, whether we agree with it or not, but the Republican-controlled legislature and the governor did sign a bill that at the beginning of which increased the age of 21 and got rid of bump stocks and a couple other provisions.
You supported that bill?
Absolutely. I helped negotiate that bill with the Republicans and Democrats. And the fact that if we would have started session this year and you would have told me we would have had meaningful gun legislation in Tallahassee
before the shooting,
right. I would have said it would never happen. But since the shooting and since the governor took his leadership role, we were able to pass legislation in Tallahassee, which I think diffuses some of the situations in some of these more contested districts.
You and I were talking the other day, and you said that really part of the issue may come down to who turns out to vote, and that while young voters may be motivated on this, traditionally they have not shown up in the polls. It's like, I think I always equate it to like Lucy with the football.
Absolutely.
Folks always are hoping young people will turn out to the polls, and then at the last minute we look at the numbers and realize they haven't. I'm guessing this year might be different, but you're saying probably safer to assume that what's happened in the past will happen in the future.
No, absolutely. Look, I think Gillum and his quest for governor has motivated some of the younger voters to come out, or first-time voters. But I think what's happened in Washington, D.C. with the Kavanaugh effect, I think that is, when you talk to moderates and independents for the most part, which lean to the right, you're starting to see them come to the right. I think there is a galvanization of the Republican Party is going on because of what happened through the Kavanaugh proceedings, that they're all coming back to the Republican Party.
Do you think that this year's midterm election will be, it's not going to be on a presidential level in terms of turnout, but do you think it's going to be greater than a typical midterm election?
No, absolutely. And again, I think both sides are very motivated to go out and vote. And I think I keep on going back to this, I'm going to go back to it, but the reality is, and you know, Jim, that I've called out my party. When I call my party, when the president, when they've made some mistakes, and the same way that I do that with the Republicans, I'm going to do it with the Democrats. I think the Democrats overplayed their hand.
On Kavanaugh.
On Kavanaugh, and especially with a due process, the fact that there wasn't any due process, and the fact that when you talk to some other folks, those are the people that are more politically motivated. But when you talk to other folks that are really not involved in politics, they're saying, wait a minute, this happened 36 years ago when they were both minors. Are you really going to do that? Are we good? And then I think a lot of folks, the independents, are falling to the right, saying, we have to stop that.
The district you represent, largely parts of Hialeah, it's a purple district in a lot of ways. It can go, it's not a pure red or pure blue district. It is purple. You voted, for instance, on the Parkland bill. You helped negotiate it. You also voted in favor of it. Didn't pass, but you voted for the amendment to ban assault weapons. Right. That's crossing your party in traditional positions. Why did you do that?
No, absolutely, Jim. Look, when these kids came up, these kids suffered a horrific loss and shock. And when they came up to Tallahassee, I met with them and I spoke to them. And I go, listen, I don't think that this will resolve the issue of passing this ban on assault weapons. It has to be more of a global conversation. But I made the commitment to them because I wanted them to know that they had access to their government and that people were listening to them. And that's why I voted the way that I voted, understanding that wasn't going to resolve the issue.
Last question on this point. You're term limited, so you're done with Tallahassee unless there's a special session. Come January, somebody else will be taking over for you in a very close race. I don't want to get into it right now. Do you think, though, there will be efforts in Tallahassee to try to weaken the Stoneman-Douglas bill, to try to repeal certain portions of it?
I think absolutely there will be, but there's some issues with that bill in itself. They have to come back next year and fix, especially with the funding of the school resource officers.
But what about like raising the age from 18 to 21? Do you think there's going to be an effort to bring that back down to 18?
I think you would see bills filed, but I don't think it'll pass. I think, I think we've all are past that, and maybe there may be other legislation to try to fix some of these loopholes that may exist.
I want to, again, thinking your district representative of a lot of different things, and you're still out talking to voters, talking to people all the time. Where do you see health care?
No, healthcare is at a forefront. You have to understand that my district is the has the number one enrollees of the Affordable Care Act, and that's a conversation that continues to be had in our districts and in our community. The fact that we still have a significant number of people uninsured says something. Washington D.C. and as well the state, both candidates have healthcare plans, but the reality is,
do folks in your district like the Affordable Care Act, or do they not like it? Because I keep hearing the debate being Republicans wanted to repeal it, but I don't see them paying a price for wanting to repeal it in districts like yours.
No, I'll tell you this. In our district, it's I'll say 60-40 like it, the fact that they have access to health insurance. Some of the issues with the mandates and so forth and some of these hidden costs are what scares some of the other folks if they have a catastrophic condition that happens to them. But the reality is that people are relatively happy with it, but we still see that there's huge numbers of people that are still uninsured, and we have to fix the system because the Affordable Care Act doesn't work the way that it is right now. And
you believe should the next governor take the Medicaid expansion?
I think I voted for Medicaid expansion. I pushed for Medicaid expansion. I think if we don't do Medicaid expansion, we really should look at a way that we can expand health care to more Floridians.
Last thing, I just want to get your take. You're not going to be there for the fun, but and I don't know who's going to win. I think it's going to be a very close race. But if Andrew Gillum, a Democrat, becomes the next governor, we haven't seen a Democratic governor in the state in 2 decades with a Republican legislature. What's that going to look like, you think?
I think it's going to be gridlock, and that's why it's important to go out and support the Republican candidate.
You support Ron DeSantis, of course.
Ron DeSantis, let me put in a plug for him right there.
Sure.
But I think it's more for the fact that could have Republicans in the House and the Senate working together with the actual governor. I think if Gillum wins, it's going to be a very ugly day in Tallahassee.
Well, although maybe it's a moderating influence. Is that a possibility?
I think in the next 2 years it's going to be very difficult because you have a very extremely right-leaning House, and you have a Senate that's always moderate, could have these conversations. It's just only time will tell on that one, Jim. It could definitely moderate the Tallahassee.
It'll be interesting. All right, Rene Garcia, thank you very much for waking up and coming in.
Absolutely.
I really do appreciate it.